You know, we make 100 or more food-related decisions every day, believe it or not, and foods we think are healthy are actually anything but healthy. So dietitian Allie Miller with Naturally Nourished has agreed to help clear up some of that confusion. Good morning and thanks for being here.
Good morning.
Okay, now one of the biggest decisions we face is choosing something that's considered whole.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Why is that?
Well, whole foods that are going to be grown in nature and not been mechanically altered or processed are going to have all of their nutrients intact and are at less risk for oxidative damage or any sort of toxins. And so when I'm talking to clients about identifying a whole food, there's 4 questions that I have them question themselves.
Okay.
One is, can you imagine it growing? So we can imagine most definitely these carrots growing with their greens. You know, you can imagine them being in the soil. Can't really imagine a Cheeto growing or a Pop-Tart growing off of a tree, right? Another thing is, how many ingredients does it have? And so you can usually use that kind of inch rule where you can take your finger and make a little inch, and if that ingredient list exceeds that, probably too processed of a food to consume. Also, what's been done to it since harvest? Has it been stripped of its nutrients or bleached? And are all of its nutrients intact? So those are kind of some ways to process through.
Okay. Are whole foods better than processed foods here?
Most definitely, and I have some examples here.
Okay.
So one big thing is the way that they're processed is going to alter the nutrients themselves. And so, for instance, when we came out with the concept of spreads versus butter, we were trying to take a liquid fat and make it shelf stable or solid at room temperature. When we do that, we hydrogenate or process these fats, and that can actually lead them to higher risk for heart disease. So we want to stick with the real butter. Yep. The butter also is going to have the omega-3s from the grass that the cows are eating and vitamin E and vitamin A.
Wow.
Another thing is, in research, when we isolate a nutrient, we did some research on beta-carotene, which is one of the big nutrients in the orange carrots. And so when we had beta-carotene with lung cancer, we thought that it was going to reduce risk because people who ate carrots decreased their risk. But when they just took the isolate, they actually increased their risk for lung cancer. So carrots in their whole form have all of these there's over 300 carotenoids that protect the lungs, and just isolating that one can actually put us at higher risk.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Now, you have the makings of a salad.
I do, yes.
And what's going to be the healthy part of this salad?
Well,
everything?
Everything, of course. We're using all whole foods.
So what do you have here?
As best as possible. I have 2 kinds of kale. So we have our curly kale here, which I've just ripped off of the stems, and then the lacinato kale. And the lacinato kale, you can just take your hand against the way the stem grows and rip it off.
That resembles collard greens.
Yeah, roll it up and then just take your knife through it real simply. Chop it into reasonable pieces.
Okay.
So I have all of my kale leaves in here. I'm going to start by giving it a little massage, sprinkle a little bit of sea salt, and we're going to kind of take our hands and mechanically break down these greens. That activates the enzymes and helps to make them less bitter. So also makes it so you don't have to chew it with 3 stomachs like a cow would. So it makes it easier to digest. If we had more time, I'd massage it for maybe 3 minutes, but I'm going to whip up a simple vinaigrette. I have the zest and the juice of a lemon, so I'm using both the outside skin to get the extra antioxidants, and the inside. I'm going to whisk in just some simple olive oil, and I'm going to put in some Parmesan. I'm going to mix in a can of rinsed cannellini beans, and some Dijon mustard.
Could you use garbanzo beans as a
could.
replacement?
You could, most definitely, and that would work really well. So you kind of let the beans marinate, and then you're going to toss it into our salad. And it's a nice, light, zesty, massaged kale cannellini salad.
And quick to make, very easy.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Allie.
Sure.
Now, we want to let you know that the recipe is available at HoustonTexasFood.com.